What's up, Focus Media crew? And today we're gonna talk about rumors, camera rumors.
I love rumors.
There are so many cameras either being announced or set to be announced by the end of this year. It's crazy. So let's get started. I want to talk about some of the cameras I'm the most excited about and that I might probably put some money on. Before we start, I just want to say that these are all rumors. This is all unconfirmed news. I'm going to leave all the sites that I found this information on down below, and I'm also going to give you my opinion about each of these cameras. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the Panasonic G90. And this is really exciting because I've been using the G95 for about a year and a half. I've done 90% of the videos on this channel on that camera, and I just love it to pieces. It's a great camera. It's not perfect, but I feel that if these specs are true, it might be the perfect camera. So the G90 is supposed to have 4K at 60 frames per second and 1080 at 240 frames per second. It should have a built-in 5-axis image stabilization. I know the G9 has a better image stabilization from the G85, so I hope they use the G9 image stabilization. That would be amazing. So the camera is supposed to have a dual native ISO, one starting at 400 and the second one starting at 2500. Does it sound familiar? And if it does, it's because this camera is supposed to have the same sensor, the multi-aspect ratio sensor from the GH5S. It's also supposed to have dual UHS SD card slots. That would be amazing. Please, Panasonic, make it happen, please. And it should have an advanced DFD autofocus, so no contrast autofocus, but I noticed that Panasonic has been working really hard at improving the autofocus, so it went from bad to okay. So hopefully in this new camera the autofocus is actually good. I'm staying positive. We're not getting contrast, that's okay, and I don't really use autofocus that much, but you know what, I wouldn't hate having better autofocus on a camera like this. And it's supposed to be priced around $1,200 to $1,300. Now that's a great price. That is a great price, especially for someone like me. I love my G85, but I need a second camera when I'm shooting weddings, when I'm shooting commercials. I always like having two cameras on site, and at that price, if this camera comes out with this specs and this price, this is gonna be the greatest camera to be released this year. There, I said it. Deal with it. Alright, before I let my fanboyism take over me, let's talk about a second camera that actually might be as good or even better than this camera as the Sony A7000 that is being rumored to come out of Photokina. But this camera should have a better sensor with better low light, a huge improvement of the IBIS. I've used the Sony A6500 for a while, and that's one of the things that I'm not crazy about is the IBIS. So if they improve it, that would be amazing. They're gonna have a slight improved autofocus, maybe closer to what the A9 has. It should have 4K 60. That's amazing. If Sony can come up with a 4K 60 camera, I don't care if it's a crop sensor. If it's 4K 60, I'll much rather use that camera than a full sensor of 4K 30. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? And here's the big one. Fully articulated screen. So if this camera comes up with those specs, fully articulated screen, 4K 60, better low light, better IBIS, this might be the greatest YouTube camera, and this might be the YouTube camera that all Sony users have been waiting for, and it's supposed to be priced around $1,400. Now that is really good. Those are some heavy specs, and that is a great price. Then again, this is all rumors. We're gonna see if this is true in a couple of months. Now let's talk about the Canon full-frame mirrorless camera that is set to be announced later this next week. Actually, they're talking about September 6th. This camera is supposed to be announced, and that's pretty amazing. But some of the specs, let me read them to you, and you let me know what you think. So it should have dual pixel autofocus. It should have IBIS, and that should be, if I'm not mistaken, the first Canon camera with IBIS. And that's pretty cool. Should be 4K at 30 frames per second, 1080 60, kind of underwhelming if you ask me, and that's as much as I know so far. They're also saying that this camera is going to be around $1,900, so that reminds me a lot about the 80D, 70D, and I think that's what this camera is going to try to be, that YouTubers kind of camera, not necessarily a professional camera, but also not necessarily an entry level. So we'll see. I mean, the specs right now, they're underwhelming. I want to see, maybe they're gonna put C-Log in it. Are they gonna put 10-bit on it? Are they gonna put, I don't know, just better features, better slow motion? We'll see. So far it's just like middle of the road camera. But you know what, Canon has always come up with really good products. The M50 was a camera that was criticized at the beginning, and then people learned to love it and grow into it because it is a good camera. So we'll see what happens with this camera that is coming out next week. And now let's talk about the new Nikon mirrorless cameras that have been announced. I don't want to read any of the specs because there's just been a billion videos about this, and I just want to give my honest opinion. So if you are a Nikon user, I think this is great news. I mean, if you're investing on the glass and the flashes, I think this is great because Nikon is coming out with a camera that I think is going to have a beautiful image and that is going to be kind of great for video. I think with the contrast and the face detection combined, is going to be really good. I think the 10-bit external is going to be great for video. I actually think this camera is great. I know there's a lot of hate, but how can you hate a camera if you only tried a pre-production unit? In fact, people are hating the camera without even seeing any footage. So if you're a Nikon user, great. In my opinion, I think this camera is a little bit of a safe play. I wish the Nikon would have put some sort of heavy specs into this camera to combat Sony, because I don't see any Sony users, I don't see any Panasonic users, I don't see any Canon users switching over to Nikon. But I do see Nikon users not leaving their system because of this new camera. At $2,000, the C6 is great. At $3,300, the C7, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I think it's a good camera. Stop with the hate. I know it's great for clickbait and I know it's great for drama, but let's just get a little bit more serious around here. Now let's talk about the Blackmagic. We actually had a chance to try this camera earlier this year. We loved it. I love the specs on this camera. I love the ergonomics, that huge screen on the back. And right now Blackmagic is releasing some test footage. I'm gonna show some footage here and I'm gonna leave the link down below. I actually think that the footage looks great, but I wish they would have had some low light footage, some low light performance. I want to see other aspects a little bit more challenging. I feel like this footage, it's outside, it's sunny. Usually footage in these settings look beautiful. So apparently it looks like they're gonna be releasing this camera on schedule, which is great. And this is one of the 3 cameras that I'm contemplating on buying, with either the Sony, the Panasonic, or the Blackmagic. Which one will you buy? Please help me decide. And last but not least, let's talk about DJI. They just came up with 2 brand new drones. They look great. One has a 1-inch sensor and a Hasselblad camera, and the other one has a zoom camera with optical zoom. They both look great. They have minor improvements. They have more sensors, and I think they look awesome. Honestly, I'm just waiting for the Mavic Air to drop price or buy it for half the price from someone who wants to buy a new drone, so I can get that. But for the price, I think it looks good. I think the 1-inch sensor will be the one that I will get if I were to get a new drone. So it looks good. I mean, it's DJI, right? And that's it, guys. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. There's more cameras. There's a bunch of pocket cameras being released. Xi'an has been teasing all these gimbals. It's just crazy. Right now, it's madness, all this gear. I think that my kids will not be getting Christmas presents this year because I gotta buy cameras. So that's it, guys. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know which camera are you the most excited about. Which camera should I buy? If I have this price range, if I have these 3 cameras, please help me. Please. I need your help. And that's a wrap for me, guys. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.